God, we come before you this morning, Lord, with thankful hearts. You have carried us through so many storms. You've protected our responders. You've protected our leaders, and most of all, you protected our citizens. God, we just want to pause at this moment and say thank you, because you are the Almighty, the controller of all. God, there are many of our sister counties and other states that are still dealing with this. We ask that you give them grace. We ask you to give them strength and endurance. And Lord, most of all, as we go into this meeting, we ask you to give us open minds and open hearts. And Lord, we just ask you and thank you for all that you've done for us. In your Son's name, amen. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We have one bid to open. This will be the Judicial Center 2-year maintenance contract. This is from Merco. They currently have the contract. They've also submitted their certificate of liability insurance. 2-year contract, $3,685 per year for the 2 years. Anybody would like to see? $3,685 per year. It's a 2-year contract, and they currently have the contract for the bid. They service all the units. So I'll entertain a motion to accept the Merco bid, $3,685 per year for a 2-year contract. Have a motion by Magistrate Sutton. Do we have a second? Second by Magistrate Fowler. Any other question or discussion? All in favor, aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries. All right. Next, we have visitor comments. You should have a copy of the March 13th and the March 19th special call meeting minutes, and I'll entertain a motion to accept those minutes as printed. Motion by Magistrate Fowler, second by Magistrate Sutton. Any other discussion? All in favor, aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries. Jason, road department update.
Yeah, during the rain this past week here, at the shop, we had 16.1 inches. Right now, I have 2 roads that are impassable, which is Beck and Birdie Bannister. My recommendation is not to fix them until we find time sometime this summer, because Birdie Bannister has way in each way, and Beck just goes through farmland. We still have Hopewell closed. The water is off of it, but I've got to wait on the state to, well, the water's not down enough where they can inspect the bridge for me. So the road closed signs are still up, so if someone goes around them, I would love for them to give them a ticket, because I'm tired of moving my signs back out the road that they move off of it for me. Because I don't know the structural of the bridge. We're going around right now fixing some driveways washed out and cleaning ditches. Had a few cross drains washed out. Wind Road washed a little the other night, and Commerce, we had just replaced 19 cross drains throughout, and only 2 of them washed on us, so I thought that was pretty good. Then we're gonna try to get back next week, hopefully to reinstalling the cross drains on Commerce and start with Preston for the pavement. And then try to get stuff ready to start bush hogging also first of May, but that's the last on my list right now.
We've had 2 sinkholes, one on Paradise and
The one on Paradise this morning, we put about a yard of flowable fill in it, I put a steel plate over top of it, and we're letting them roll. So that's the one way in, one way out, you know, if I dug it, well, they wouldn't have no way in or out. And then we've got a truck down, transmissions out of the, it's gonna cost somewhere $7,500, $8,000 to fix, so.
Thank you, Jason, for everything y'all do.
We appreciate it. And I want to thank the crew too, because they worked, I know Matt, he had a leak in his roof, and he was at work the whole time, so. I just want to thank them.
Thank you, Jason. Mr. Paul, Kentucky Transportation Cabinet District One. This will be the sheet that he, handed out.
I'm just gonna read through the numbers, and if you have any questions afterwards, I'll be happy to answer them. This is a rural secondary recommendation for a 25-26 fiscal year. The tentative allocation for Lyon County is $964,131. The remaining balance from last year is $103,453. We would have to deduct the proposed maintenance for traffic allotment, which would be $433,900, leaving a subtotal of $633,684 for improvements. Of that, we would remove the county flex funds, which this year is $241,033, leaving $392,651 for us to work on RS roads. This year, there's a bridge on Kentucky 819 at the 2.4 mile marker that we're proposing to replace. It would cost $458,766.23, which would be a negative $66,115.23, but we've identified money with our funds to offset the difference and replace that bridge.
Y'all have any questions? So they're not gonna be paving any state roads, it's gonna be replacing that bridge on 819. And Lord willing, in the next week or two, they'll be down at 295.
Yes, they put the signs up, and the completion date for that project is November of this year. I've talked to Smith, and they're waiting to find out when their beams will be delivered, and I'll be able to give you more exact date back in when they get done, so.
Awesome. Any questions? Thank you. All right, Catawba House Bill 1, the debt approval. Mayor Campbell's here, Representative Freeland's here. You all should have a copy of RBS Design Group in your folder. And then the other company did not make enough. Here is another bid packet. RBS has done work, with the city of Catawba in the past, and I have a letter, you all should also have a copy of that letter from Mayor Campbell, asking that the Lyon County Fiscal Court approve the bid, or award the bid to RBS Design Group and Architecture for this project.
I'll make a motion to move RDS to the city council.
Motion by Commissioner Fowler. Okay, second by Commissioner Sutton. Any other discussion? Mayor Campbell, is there anything you'd like to say before we vote?
Just appreciate you all taking this into consideration and helping us out.
Judge,
Yes, I'm sorry. Chief,
I would
didn't see you back there.
also, on behalf of the membership of the department, I want to extend our heartfelt appreciation to the mayor, Chris, to you guys, and you all the fiscal court for making sure that this project goes forward. Deeply indebted, much appreciated.
Thank you. All in favor, aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries. Tim, you want to come up and do
Sure.
this is a resolution supporting the Penny Rock Energy Corridor. I have talked to a couple of residents, even this morning, in Lamasco, 93 South area about this, gas line that's coming through, and I'll let,
judging. It's good to see some of the familiar faces here. My name is Tim Thomas. I represent the Pennyroyal Regional Energy Agency. They are a client of mine. I handle their government and community affairs. PREA is a public entity. It was chartered by two small towns in Todd County, interlocal agreement for the express purpose of building a natural gas pipeline from Lyon County down to the Tennessee line. We had originally called it the PREA pipeline, but it seemed to stir some confusion. Everyone thought that the benefits would just be at the far end of the pipeline. It was actually an energy corridor, and that's what it's been renamed, because the idea is to open 5 counties up for further industrial development by having a sufficient supply of natural gas to supply large industries, heavy industries that are looking for places to locate. The plan now is for a 53-mile long pipeline, minimum 16 inches in diameter. It would tie into the existing ANR pipeline near Lamasco, cross under Interstate 24, and then proceed down alongside the westbound lanes to the Tennessee line, where it would turn east and then go into the Guthrie Industrial Park, whose currently planned to end. We are signing up customers as we speak. We've got some industrial customers in Todd County. Fort Campbell has approached us. We have a contract that is going through final review with Fort Campbell. We were not expecting that, but they were looking for an alternative or a redundant gas supply for Fort Campbell. They have one now from the south. They wanted an additional one from the north for security purposes. So they were excited to hear about our project. So we have a number of entities that we're talking to. We hope to begin construction this summer. Again, it's primarily to recruit industry. And we found that there is a real need for large volumes of natural gas. Either the infrastructure is not existent, or where the current infrastructure exists has been overburdened by converting coal plants to natural gas. For instance, the TVA power plant, Paradise plant, that was converted to natural gas a few years ago. The current gas distribution system was not designed to support those concentrated loads in those locations, and that's where the gas has been flowing to. Obviously, the gas companies love those customers because they burn 24/7 large volumes of gas. But again, this is an economic development project, and we are asking local entities for resolutions of support because we're approaching the new administration in Washington for grant funds. The more grant funds we get, the less we have to borrow. The less we have to borrow, the lower the rates will be for our customers. So that's why you have the resolution before you. Certainly glad to entertain any questions that the court might have.
Do I have any questions?
When's the completion of the project?
We expect that once we start, it should take 6 to 9 months to construct it. We've still got some parcels that we have to acquire easements on. We've got about 70% of the parcels we need, but we've still got a few folks to talk to and work out arrangements with.
And that's just industrial.
Primarily industrial. If we go through somebody's property as an accommodation, we give them the opportunity to tie in, whether it's for drying grain or to heat their farm shop or even their home. But we're primarily looking to support industrial loads. We're not really looking to compete with incumbent providers for residential purposes, just to accommodate those whose property we cross.
Did you run into the north part of the county?
Well, let's get this part of the ground and we'll talk.
Any other questions for Tim? All right, I'll make a motion to approve the resolution as printed. Second.
This will be the first reading of Lyon County, Kentucky Resolution 03-2025. I will be reading this resolution in a summary form only. A complete copy of this resolution is available in the office of the Lyon County Judge Executive during normal business hours. Lyon County, Kentucky Resolution 2025-03 is a resolution supporting the Pennyroyal Energy Corridor. Whereas there exist in some parts of the Pennyroyal region of Kentucky both unserved and underserved areas relative to an adequate supply of natural gas. And whereas the Penny Royal Region Energy Agency proposes to meet this need for expanding access to natural gas by constructing the Penny Royal Energy Corridor through our area to provide an affordable and abundant supply of natural gas to industry and residents within the region. Now therefore be it resolved, the Lyon County Fiscal Court, in recognition of the numerous advantages of the Penny Royal Energy Corridor, will provide and does hereby extend to the Penny Royal Regional Energy Agency and its board of directors its full support in its efforts, and does further endorse and encourage efforts by our federal and state legislative officials to secure necessary funding for the project. This has been the first and only reading of Lyon County, Kentucky Resolution 2025-03.
All in favor, aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Motion carried.
Thank you, Court.
Yes. We can get you a copy of this before you leave, or I can email it, whatever you'd like.
Email will be fine.
Okay. Do you have something?
No, I said, good seeing it, Tim.
Thank you.
All right, the second thing, or the next thing we'll have, number 11, is the 2024-2025 budget amendment ordinance 01-2025. We got our first reading last month. I will entertain a motion for approval on the second reading. I do need to make a note, on this. Abby and I, treasurer Guest, talked with DLG today. If you look at FEMA, $425,116.35. Of that, $30,510.79 will actually be transferred to the road reserve. DLG advised I did not have to change this ordinance or do another ordinance, that per the KRS, we can make that transfer per executive order. And so I wanna note that $30,510.79 will not go into the general reserve, it will go into the road reserve. That is from the May 2024 tornado for signs, and road damages and their overtime, et cetera. So with that correction, I will entertain a motion to approve ordinance 01-2025.
Move for approval.
Motion by Master Sutton. Second by Master Fowler.
This will be the second and final reading of the Lyon County, Kentucky ordinance number 01-2025. I will be reading this ordinance in a summary form only. A complete copy of this ordinance is available in the office of the Lyon County Judge Executive during normal business hours. Lyon County, Kentucky ordinance number 01-2025 is an ordinance relating to the annual budget and amendment thereof. Whereas the County of Lyon has received unbudgeted revenues from miscellaneous sources, be it ordained by the Fiscal Court of Lyon County, Kentucky as follows. The budget for fiscal year 24-25 is amended as follows. Subsection A, increase or decrease the receipts of the general, road, HB1, and KFB appropriation funds by $2,574,249.35 to include unbudgeted receipts from line items 014506C, 014504D, 024518, 064510. Increase or decrease expenditure accounts 0192009990, 0292009990, 0692009990. Section 2, the amounts adjusting the receipts and expenditure accounts, and Section 2 are for governmental purposes. This has been the second and final reading of Lyon County, Kentucky ordinance number 01-2025.
All in favor, aye. Aye. Opposed, no. All right, the first reading of the 25-26 budget, we will actually move to the end, and I will explain that. That reading will actually occur probably in a special call or May meeting, but we do have a preliminary budget only one. Number 13, annual standing order for recurring expenses for 25-26 fiscal year. These are the bills that we pay on a regular basis without a claim: clerk postage, sheriff postage, local board of appeals, election officers, election commissioners, election rental polling places, postal charges, and clerk permanent storage fees. I'll make a motion to approve these reoccurring expenses as printed. policy, that will also be continued. Community building update. So everything is, the little building is open, the new floor is not in yet, but everything is painted. If you haven't seen it, you need to go see it. The new lights are up, the ceiling's painted, looks marvelous. The inmates did a great job painting it. Nathan Corley on the lights. We did have the hot water heater go out, we had to replace it. We also had a toilet that was cracked, we had to replace it. But other than that, everything is looking good. We've updated the sheets. No tape. The only thing you can use in that building is push pins. And then once we get the floor done, it should be completed. And we're looking at 2 new doors, glass doors, similar to the convention center, so that you can actually kind of see in and see out and have some daylight, because it's like you're in a hole, because there's no windows or anything that brings any light in. But it looks really good.
You have a total how much?
That we've spent so far, about 30 to 32,000. I thought I brought it, but I guess it's still laying on my desk.
It's a lot cheaper than building one.
Yes. Very nice. All right, senior citizen issues, these, so I believe they fixed the ice machine now, the cabinet is our, issue. So you have 3 quotes, to replace that cabinet. One was $3,500 from Hometown Handyman, one was $45.54 and 34 cents from Buchanan's, and then Cold Lumber at $3,815 and 1 cent.
It's the material equivalent, I guess, that's really not.
Tom did all this, and Tom is out sick, so I'm not sure on that, other than what they provided. And their budget is only $5,000 about that.
Who's it?
The senior citizen budget, so
$5,000.
$5,000.
Hometown Handyman, you know?
I'm not sure. And Cold Lumber's 38, Buchanan's is 45.54. I think it's about $700, and it's still like $1,200 left in their account. No, Cold Lumber, even on Hometown, they want a deposit, and we can't do that on it.
Oh, look here, I guess. Any good?
Yes,
Is that one you recommend?
that was the one I recommended, because that would at least leave them $1,200 left in the account for the end of the fiscal
I'll make a
year.
motion. Use code number 3815. You should have tax.
No, yeah, so it'd be $3,599.07.
Make a motion. 359907. Code number.
Ashford, Fowler,
Hang on,
Yes, sir.
this price doesn't include labor, it says.
I'm assuming it's labor on code lumber.
Is the other ones hold? With labor?
I don't see the price.
Yeah.
does not include-
that one doesn't, Buchanan's doesn't include.
Well, how much we're looking at on labor, do you think?
I guess that could be a Tom and Nick or Nick and Corbin,
Probably could do it.
if they could do it.
Probably need to find out.
For the inverted bid?
The cabinets rotted out. We did fix the ice, I mean, or the packs fixed the ice machine, so it should not be leaking.
cabinets and countertops, $375, and then install at $700. Hometown Handyman has got removal, repair, installation at
600.
1,300.
Well, install is 600.
And then remove 400.
Addition.
So you're looking at these other two, labor is
700 probably.
700 and 600.
But do you think, Tom, they could change that? Think we can wait and see if they can do it before we.
Yeah, we can do that.
hard to carry.
It can die for
Yeah,
us.
second, yeah. We'll move to the May and check on installation. You should have a copy of the Lyon County Clerk's surplus items. What, is there anything you'd like to?
These are old computer, they have no hard drives in them, but they're, computers that have been used in the vault. And I just did an order and not got rid of them, so. They need to be, I can't just throw them away. So I need y'all to be able to tell me to throw them away.
I'll make a motion to accept the surplus from the Lyon County Clerk as printed. Do you have a second? Second by Marshall Sutton. Any other discussion? All in favor, aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Motion passed. All right, opioid settlement proposal is next. And I think several of y'all may have been at the last meeting when that was in discussion, with the sheriff. The sheriff can't be here today, he's sick, and I don't see Dennis either. Dennis Beckett's out as well. So I have talked with the sheriff, in regards to the opioid settlement funds, they cannot be expended as an enforcement action, as a deputy working the road. They are for wraparound services only. Myself, the treasurer, the finance officer, the county attorney, the sheriff, magistrate Cummins, and Warren Carr with Keiko met, and that was explained again as to how those funds can be used. So they can be used for the transportation and some other things in regards to treatment, but they cannot be used as a first line emergency response, and the sheriff is aware of that, and that part is good. Then, back on, as one of our special call meetings, on Wednesday, March the 19th, we met in a special call, myself, Master Fowler and Sutton, were present, along with the finance team, which is Abby Guest, treasurer, and Krista Grigg, finance officer, along with some representatives from the sheriff's department. There was a few public, representatives as well. Sheriff White was able to attend later. We were able to sit down and go through the budget, the general budget, which includes the sheriff, the clerk, the coroner. We went through every line item, line by line, in discussion, and were able to sit down with the sheriff and show that he had approximately $60,000 within his own budget for him to hire a deputy now. He has hired a deputy. That deputy will start on April the 13th, I believe, this Sunday. Josh is shaking his head. And so that is already in there. That money was already in his budget. It was just in how he spent it, and it's there, and so they have hired one. And so I think some may have come, maybe didn't talk on visitor comment or here at the last meeting. And so I wanted you all to be aware of that. Everything is gone well so far. And Sheriff White knows, for today what was gonna be discussed. So does anybody have any question in regards to that? I'll give you that opportunity.
Yes, yes, sir. It's my understanding, conversing with Sheriff White, who, by the way, apologizes to everybody. He is homesick in bed with 102 temperature and doctor's orders. He apologizes profusely.
Do you mind Dee to come up to the microphone just so it gets the
Sure.
recorder? Thank you.
Yeah, no, on behalf of Sheriff White, he apologizes that most of all he's not here, but because he's on sick in bed under doctor's orders. He had explained that you had approved and did have a salary for one deputy, but he also has said he needs 2 more. You see, I asked him, I think it was Sunday night, I said, well, how many are out on duty now? He goes, none. They are short, they need it for 2 more deputies, and that's what he's looking for, the funding. If it, you know, if this is money that had to be taxed to save a life, a sheriff, a deputy, or a civilian, then so be it. But what can we do to get funds for 2 more deputies for our sheriff life?
Thank you.
Is that 2 plus the one he's just hired?
Plus,
So we'll be
yes,
a total of 3?
yes, a total of 3.
I'm not sure, he didn't, I'm not sure
I
without
thought we
asking
just
him.
did 2 total and one more.
I have it documented, sir.
Without him being here, I'm not gonna answer that one because I would want him here. We're gonna keep going because there'll be more on that one. Alright, so you should also have a special called meeting, a memo, because several of our trainings, and we know vacation as it comes up January 1. So this will show the special call meetings for the remainder of the year, the ones that have been canceled, and then the current regularly scheduled meetings. This will be posted. Does anybody see an issue with this list?
September's left off.
Did I?
September the 11th. Is it left off at the bottom?
That is, so
It
there's a
should be
typo.
September, so it should be September. And I think December is not the 12th.
It's not the-
It's the
yeah.
11th. Is that right?
Yeah, and if you notice, I left 2024 too. See? Yes. So this is the unit in the PBA in the sheriff's office. There's 3 estimates. Master Fowler, we've spent today $30,327.20 on the building. So this unit needs to be replaced. There's 3 different ones. Tom Peak has actually recommended we get to replace that. These funds will come out to pay for this out of House Bill 577 funds.
You work with them quite a bit. So you got confidence.
He has really liked them here recently. Merco does all the judicial. And then Hometown has done a lot of work here.
Sheriff's office.
But that was Tom's recommendation, was BWA. Yeah, they're all local, other than Merco. But Merco does the judicial. But it needs to be replaced, and we don't need to wait till it gets July. Go ahead and start working on that and get it ordered.
Move we approve, BWA.
Have a motion by Master second by Master Fowler to approve BW Aiken. It's $17,237 to replace the sheriff's office and the PBA unit. Any other discussion?
Is it up on top or is it up on top or is it there?
It's in the attic. All in favor, aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries. All right, the next one that I'm handing you, that one, yeah, we should have, here you go. This is the Senior Citizen Center. If you remember, Tom mentioned that the Senior Citizen Center, was in dire need of both of its units to be replaced. One is a 6-ton, one is a 17.5-ton unit. You have one at $38,010 and one at $19,150. These are the only estimates we've gotten so far from Merco. That this will give you an idea, one, if we add it to the 25-26 budget, or if we use LATCF funds to go ahead and replace them.
All of that.
Yes. He said they were on their last leg. But this is just, again, this is the only estimate he's asked, again, the same people to give an estimate, but he had not received them yet.
Can you put that on the bid then?
Not if it's under 40.
Or 30?
Yeah, but they're 2 separate units,
So it'll be 2 separate.
2 separate units. So that's the only one I have so far.
You don't have to combine those two.
I would do them separate, but.
I always do them separate, and you don't have to put them out for bid. However, considering how close they are to $40,000, I don't see any reason why there is no reason why you can't put them out for bid. I just don't like knocking on that threshold. That's getting really, really close to it. I wouldn't want you to get into a situation where you buy a unit at $38,000 or $39,000, you gotta have some metal work done to put it in, and that goes over the 40. If you're gonna get that close, I would bid them out. You don't have to because you're under, but considering how close they are, I would bid them out.
We'll see what the other ones come in, and then I'll let them know if it goes up for bid. I mean, that's, when we get the estimates and we know they're over, similar to the boiler, when I found them all over 40, I sent all an email saying it's out for bid, resubmit as a sealed bid. Yeah. That one we wait, I just wanted to bring it to your attention so you We did get notification from Keiko, in the budget, it is at a 15% increase. It's actually only gonna be a 7% increase. That's all of our Keiko, all line funds. Only,
It's better 15.
only the 7. Yes, it's better than 15. Last year it was, we budgeted 20, what's what they told us, and it came in around 12 to 15. So, yes. And one of the last things in that binder that you have, the very last thing. All the way to the last page. So this is a, budget to start to work on. Abby will continue to, we're gonna probably present 3 of them to you. This budget includes a 2% raise. It includes the purchase of a new coroner's vehicle. It includes the standard CPI from the state that is mandated for the elected officials. It includes the new Kentucky law enforcement, fund, what we call the CLEP fund for law enforcement, that increase. It also includes the new tasers and body cameras. The dispatch service, they did send me an email. They're not gonna increase this year that we initially thought, so that's a $31,000 savings at the moment. It does not include the soil and water conservation increase. They would like to see 70,000, this one only has 58,000. And that's
what
on
it's
our-
gonna be, that's right.
Is it 58? It includes the additional payment for Fiscal soft, but again, we could potentially use LATCF funds for that, and that would free up money there. If you look at it, if you remove the carryover and the reserve for transfer, and you leave everything in it as printed, this budget is approximately 58,000 short without reserve for transfer or carryover, with those stipulations.
That's one bit, right?
That is actually with the one that was just hired and one addition,
But still, 58,000.
58,000 short. If you go ahead and pay the corner vehicle out of LATCF fund, we break even without reserve or carryover.
So
About
in
2,000.
order to have 3 deputies, how much more would we add to that? Maybe 110,000?
Probably about 125, give or take.
Put us at the 180 mark. Both.
So that will have, this one currently has the one that was just hired, finishes out that one, and then one addition. Your road.
And that's without, is that what the corner vehicle do?
Yes. That includes the corner,
You said it could be taken away.
LATCF. So then you have also your general revenue. You asked about the 4%. We increased it to make sure that it covered. You have the road as well. Not a whole lot of changes there. One thing I did notice off of what that form you brought shows our, flex to actually only be 241. Not 266.
There was some carryover, I think 25,000
flex would be 241, plus the
Correct.
carryover is still 266.
266,922.
So that is in there, then you should also have the road revenue. The jail budget has already been presented, it's stated 457,130. The road is at 1,532,500. Then you have House Bill 577. What comes out of here is the judicial center maintenance, or insurance, and then we can do repairs, to the courthouse and or judicial if needed.
My question is how are we gonna raise about $200,000?
So the only way that you could potentially do that is three options, and that would be to increase the property tax, an occupational tax, and or an insurance premium tax. Those are the only three options that you have to increase revenue. And insurance premium tax, the one that I did was 3%, similar to a county of our size, similar to, what our insurance premiums are here, based on what's given to us by Compass Materials out of Crittenden County. They got about 360,000 on 3%. And then occupational, if you did a 0.5% based on what everyone at Ottawa currently make on theirs. And a 0.5% is about 400,000. You go 1%, you're about 810,000. And all of that, anything of that would have to kind of be split between all the departments.
Yeah.
That doesn't go just to one or the other, that is the clerk, the sheriff, the road. The road's in dire strait at the moment. They're actually working one employee short, to try to save. A lot of their equipment is military equipment that came from the sheriff's office, and it is on its last leg. And so they do need some things replaced. They need another person. They're actually still, not only are they short one, but they were cut 1.5 employees as well. And so they're actually two.
We're down to 5, and or 2
And you
years
had
ago, we had 7
7.5.
in a part-time.
So, any of that money that comes in will be generated and split out amongst all of those departments. But those are your three options. ABC is kind of set as it is, what would bring, what would come in. Then you have asset forfeiture, those are set in total. You have the clerk document storage fund, that's pretty much set. Yeah, that's designated money just for the clerk. Then you have the opioid budget, which shows what we, could potentially bring in, as long as no company files bankruptcy. Then you have the remaining ARPA funds that are being spent. And then House Bill 1, the Ottawa Fire Department bill. So this is just one budget, you're probably gonna get 2 more so that you can see changes, in regards to the clerk and the sheriff and what they asked for in their budget and the fluctuation, and then also to see how long that can be maintained without actually having to have that additional revenue source by one of those three actions.
So the opioid funds can only be used for wraparound services. Do we know, I don't know if there's a way to know this, that if the sheriff's department does some of those wraparound services, it can be reimbursed to the general fund, correct?
Yes.
Do we have any idea, 10,000, 20,000, 30,000
We-
a year?
We don't. We contacted the auditor's office, Sherry Scott, and we contacted DLG, Abby and Krista and I, to find out how that needed to be worked. Because the concern was supplanting, because you can't supplant. And they informed us that we can reimburse for the remainder of this fiscal year and for did, when I talked to the sheriff today, he said he actually had one yesterday or the day before that he will send a request for reimbursement.
Anything else?
Anything else? Anything. But when this budget was prepared, I took 22-23's budget, 23-24's budget, and current budget 24-25 to date, and went through every line item and did an average of what we spent and what we're looking at with either potential increases or decreases, and that's how this budget came about, and that's how I was able to move, what I was able to move to fund one additional on top of the one that was just cut.
I mean, I think everybody in here is forthright.
Yes.
They don't have a problem with those raising their taxes or whatever, so.
That's right.
Absolutely. No,
Well, and it'll be one of those, it would be one of those three options. There would potentially be a public hearing as well, so that, and it would be in the evening. The school has already said we could host it there, so that everybody, because it's not just affecting you, it would affect both institutions. It would affect the school if you're looking at occupation. It would affect every resident that owns property in the county if it was on the property side. Anybody for insurance premium, it would affect that as well. So it's not just picking one, it's determining which one would be the best solution for the county in regards to revenue and the needs of the county and what the public's input is.
Can it be a combination? Yeah.
Yeah, come on.
Yes, on behalf of Brent, who's not here, and he had texted me, he just wanted, you know, so many of the supporters who came out on his behalf today, he wanted to say, ideally, on top of the one that you've already approved, a new deputy, ideally, if we had 3, we would always have 2 on every shift, not counting me as a primary officer. That way, I could fill in when we have gaps due to training, vacation days, or sick days from our personnel. And, you know, stressing how important it is to be able to have backup. So that's why he needs 2 more on top of the 1. Okay.
And at the same time, I would ask as well that others also communicate with the city of Bentonville. We had 6, had 5 when I was there,
Yeah.
and they've cut it to 3. And that's a big hurt. KSP's down to 15. There, I mean, there's a lot.
Yeah, I know there's more to it, but I asked him Tuesday night, I said, so how many are out there? None. One was in training, one was sick, he was home. So yeah, they're asking for 2 more on top of the 1. And I just wanted everybody here to know that. Thank you.
Any other questions? Is Garrett here? Oh, yes, Dennis came in, absolutely. Then I will get to you, ma'am, with the blue there, yes, ma'am.
I'm sorry I'm late, I literally just left Murray Callaway Hospital.
Well, I'm glad you're here.
Since the last meeting, y'all helped the sheriff's department out greatly. Starting, Monday or Sunday, we potentially have a new deputy coming on. That's gonna give us, when Dave comes back, that will give us full-time 2 men coverage at night. We still got shifts during the daytime where we only have 1 person working. So, I know you're working toward getting us another deputy, and that will help the situation greatly. But we really need to have 2 men on duty, and we'll increase the hours of coverage also. You know, the people of Lyon County are having to foot a bill that's not really fair to them, but it's, you know, it's life. We're in the situation we're at right now, not to your doing, this started 20 years ago, or maybe even longer than that. 98% of the people that we deal with that puts the deputies' lives in danger are not Lyon County citizens. They're just not. Yesterday, I had a kid from Paducah come up, walk to my cruiser, flip it off, and his mama took his picture. So that tells you the kind of stuff we deal with. But there again, it's not Lyon County people. The people of Lyon County entrusted you in an overwhelming way. You know, your vote tallies were off the chart. Everybody trusts you. We know you've done so much with little. You can roll a boat with a rope. I get it. But it's time to put a motorboat back in the water and throw the rope away. And, you know, 4 years ago, the same scenario pretty much played out with me. If it had not been, and I wasn't supposed to work that night. A guy got a call, I heard it, and I thought, had that little voice inside me say, you need to go. And not two of us been there, one of us would be over on that wall in the memorial. Here, 4 years later, we're in the same spot. There again, it's not your problem. Well, it's your problem, but it's not you're not the fault of it.
Right.
But it's time that we need to do something. We have to be bold a lot of times during the week. We have to do stuff, we have to step up and take bold measures. And I'm just asking you to be bold now. We've trusted you to run the county, now trust us to back you. So, that's all I've got to say.
I appreciate it. Thank you, Dennis. Yes, ma'am.
When you were talking about the percentages, I didn't catch, what percentage you were thinking for raising property tax.
So the max that we can go is 4% before it's subject to a, recall. Yeah, petition for recall, sorry.
And what would that number look like?
I won't-
Say you got 4%.
I won't know until the assessment is done, and I won't have that paperwork until probably July.
Okay.
I can tell you,
Last year was about 80,000.
well, there was the increase from what the compensating was to the 4% was about 199. The difference from the 4% last year to this year may have been about 80. In 22, 23, it was about 1,025,000, maybe, not even that. I'd have to go back and look, I don't tell you correctly. Last year, it was right at, 1,075,000, and this year I'm projecting about 50,000 more. So that's with the 4%. So it's really not a whole lot, because if you think about that, that's gone. So the total cost of government rate, just say like for a deputy, and that's their hourly rate, overtime, we do try to budget for overtime, retirement, health insurance, dental, vision, their CLEP fund, which is mandated by the state, we do get reimbursed for that. The retirement is about 114,000, and I think the overtime's budgeted at about 7. So about 107 to 108,000 is just that total cost of government for one employee. That doesn't include car, weapons, any of their equipment. So it's not just trying to find that money, it's trying to find the other, and the one that they currently have, I mean, to have it where I have it, to at least the one they just hired and one more without using any reserve or with any carryover, to be at about 60,000 is pretty good. And then, once we add, we're gonna do another budget, and we can add those things in so that the full court can see. That's when we're like, okay, now we're 200 and something thousand short, or we're 300 and something thousand, and that would determine where we look at, okay, insurance premium at 3% is 360, that's nothing, because only, that would all go to one agency and nobody else would get anything. Property tax, that won't even touch it. You know, occupational, this is what we could make, this is where it could go, this is some of the other people that need it as well and what they could get. So that's kind of how we would look at determining it. They actually, the full court has examples of resolutions from other counties. They have the KRS and the Supreme Court ruling on occupational tax. Insurance premium would only go in effect July 1 of 2026 if that one was voted, because you have to do it 90 days to 100 days prior to July 1, so it had to be passed between now and March 15th, and wouldn't go in effect until July of 2026. Occupation's 2 readings and it goes in effect. And then property tax is always in August. Any other question? See Garrett. There he is, okay. He just wanted, this is Garrett Clark from, did anybody else have any other questions on the law enforcement, the tax? I just wanna introduce Garrett, our new Lake Barkley partnership. This is what y'all pay, the court pays the $10,000 for, before we introduce him. That'll be our last thing before we adjourn. Alright, Garrett, it's yours.
Hello everybody, my name is Garrett Clark. I'm the Executive Director of the Lake Barkley Partnership for Economic Development. So I'm from Benton originally, and I studied economics for 4 years at Murray State, and then studied economic development for another year at the Master's Club. So I went to Graves County Economic Development to work out there for about a year and a half, and then joined on with the partnership over here this year. So I'm loving it, and I am excited to work with you all in the future. Thank you.
Appreciate it. He's doing awesome. We've had a couple meetings with him, and young and eager and looking for economic development. Representative Freeland, is there anything you'd like to address or anything going on in Frankfurt that,
No, not really, just finished up session and I'll be glad to answer any questions, but all the bills are still rolling in my head right now.
one thing, if by chance that if we did pass it, it comes out on occupational, I know both cities did a resolution against it. We would, please ask legislators not to make that a centralized location and take 3% or whatever percent, that was being looked at off of the top before it went back to the counties, to try to leave that money in the county's hands. I know that didn't pass this time, but just for future discussion, if it was passed, I'm just trying to leave the local money here so that
Yes.
we can do what we need to do with it.
I would echo that as well. I was at a meeting, Chris, a couple of weeks ago. It seems like it's still a hot topic.
Yeah, it is. It'll be brought back up next year, so. I'm against it, I'm with you guys.
Thank you.
It's just one thing, it could potentially, taking that away from a local entity, there's several counties around us that have it and all across the state. Taking that away and making it as a central, and then taking a percentage of it can break some of your local entities, and they can't function. And so that hurts big time.
Right.
So we appreciate all you do for us. Anything, magistrates? Alright.
Just want to echo Jason, thank y'all. Y'all worked a lot of hours and
Appreciate it. I would like to stay too for communication.
These guys,
I'd be in
yeah.
touch with them like on 1055, we're trying to figure a route for them to come in and out, so. They did a good job through there, especially with going forward, Parkway was shut down and all that.
And I know Ron White's not here,